And so, there's a lot of new things that she's dealing with at such a young age as well. And she's been in Spain for many years, since I think she was 13 years old. I think she moved to Spain and trained at Rafa's Academy, and has been, around people with a mindset that demands a lot, but is also very focused on, you have to put in the work, you're respectful, and she's been around that environment, and I think there's no coincidence that she has the results that she has. But I think it's going to be very important for her to be a little bit protected from the craziness that comes with that all as well, and just the ability to keep focusing on what she has to do.
A four-time Grand Slam champion just made a comparison that stopped the entire tennis world in its tracks. She didn't compare Alex Eala's forehand. She didn't compare her ranking. She compared her life to Michael Jordan. Not the athlete, the icon, the pressure, the fame, the suffocating weight of carrying a nation before you're even old enough to legally rent a car in some countries. Kim Clijsters didn't hesitate. She didn't soften it. And what she revealed about Eala's future is something most fans are not ready to process. So, here's the real question. Is Alex Eala truly being shielded from the overwhelming spotlight that comes with being the Philippines' biggest sports figure at just 20 years old? Or is she being left to absorb pressure that would break most professionals twice her age? I want your honest perspective down below, because this conversation matters. But first, we need to unpack the comparison itself, because this is the kind of statement that forces you to stop scrolling and lean in.
Again, like when it comes down to the on-court stuff, she reminds me a little bit of a, like she has that kind of pit bull. Like I remember Sibulkova was a little bit like that to me as well. Like they have such quick feet, but the ability to, from a defensive situation, still move into the court and become an aggressive player is a very tough combination to handle on the other side of the net. So very interesting. Has done great things so far at a young age, but still has some improvements to get to, and the consistency is something that is going to be very important. A lot of players know her now, know her strengths, know her weaknesses. So that's something that she's going to have to deal with as well.
Kim Clijsters, four-time Grand Slam champion, former world number one, and one of the most respected competitors in modern women's tennis, sat down on the Love All podcast with Blair Henley and delivered a statement that instantly elevated this discussion to another level. She said Alex Eala is living the life of Michael Jordan in the Philippines. Not the life of a promising WTA player. Not the life of a top 30 athlete building momentum. The life of Michael Jordan. The global benchmark for what it means to be so culturally significant in your own country that anonymity disappears completely. That level of recognition changes how you move, how you breathe, how you exist in public. It transforms daily life into performance. And Clijsters made it clear that this shift is happening at lightning speed. She explained that people often assume fame only exists online or in headlines, but the reality is much heavier.
It's online and it's in the news and everything, but it's not easy to, I think, to deal with changes like that so quickly.
Adjusting to dramatic change in visibility is not simple. It is not gradual. It is not something you ease into. It arrives all at once. And when that wave hits, it does not ask whether you are ready. This wasn't commentary from a casual observer looking for attention. This came from someone who battled at the highest tier of the sport for more than a decade. Someone who understands the emotional toll of packed stadiums, expectations, and global scrutiny. When Clijsters says Eala needs protection, she is not exaggerating. She is diagnosing something very real. Because what has happened over the last 12 months is nothing short of explosive. A year ago, Eala was ranked 137 inches the world. Now she sits inside the top 31. That kind of climb in the WTA rarely happens without chaos surrounding it. Ranking jumps like that bring everything at once. Tougher draws. Bigger arenas. Sharper media focus. Heavier commercial responsibilities. Suddenly there are sponsorship deals, global brand partnerships, front row fashion week invitations, and a national spotlight that does not dim between tournaments. There is no slow adjustment period. No quiet middle phase. Just acceleration. And all of it lands on the shoulders of a 20-year-old still evolving technically, physically, and mentally against the best players on earth. Clijsters sees that compression clearly. She understands that when you become the face of a nation hungry for sporting success, Your wins are celebrated as collective triumphs, and your losses are dissected as shared heartbreak. The Philippines, a country of over 110 million people, has been waiting for a tennis figure like this for decades. And now they have her. That combination of national hunger, global stage exposure, and youthful charisma creates something rare. It creates cultural saturation. It means you cannot simply walk through a mall unnoticed. You cannot step into a restaurant without whispers turning into requests for photos. You cannot disappear for a day without headlines speculating why. Eala herself has admitted she avoids going out alone back home. She says it with gratitude, she calls it a blessing. And it is. But blessings at this magnitude come attached to responsibility that most adults would struggle to balance. She has not won a Grand Slam. She has not cracked the top 10. Yet the level of recognition she commands mirrors icons who have dominated for years. That is what makes Clijsters' comparison so powerful. It is not about trophies. It is about magnitude. And the tennis world needs to fully grasp what that magnitude means before casually projecting expectations onto her future. Because talent development is one equation. Managing cultural phenomenon is another entirely. And once you understand that magnitude, you start to see why Kim Clijsters shifted the conversation from hype to responsibility. Because this is not just about rankings climbing. It is about how quickly everything changed. From outside the sport, people see numbers. They see 137 to 31 and think success story. But inside the tour, that kind of rise detonates your routine. Suddenly, you are no longer entering events quietly. You are seated, you are studied. Opponents circle your name in the draw. Media requests multiply. Sponsors expect appearances. Every match becomes appointment viewing, especially when you represent a country that travels in waves to support you. Clijsters emphasized that fame is not limited to trending clips or headlines. It bleeds into normal life. It follows you into airports, restaurants, hotel lobbies. And when you are compared to Michael Jordan in your homeland, there is no such thing as invisible movement. Every action is amplified. That amplification can inspire, but it can also suffocate if not managed correctly. What makes Clijsters' perspective so valuable is that she has lived elite pressure. She knows what it feels like to carry expectation into center court. She understands the difference between attention and weight. And she is clearly signaling that Eala's rise is happening at a speed that requires careful handling. Now shift to the tennis itself, because Clijsters did not stop at cultural impact. She dissected the game with precision. She said Eala makes opponents uncomfortable. That word matters. Uncomfortable is not flashy. It is not highlight reel language. It is tactical disruption. It means rhythm breaks down. It means patterns dissolve. It means opponents walk off court saying, "I never felt settled." Part of that equation is her left-handedness. In a sport dominated by right-handers, geometry changes instantly when a lefty steps across the net. Serves kick differently, cross-court rallies target unexpected weaknesses. Angles open on the ad side that force constant recalibration. Professionals spend years grooving patterns against right-handed spin. A left-hander scrambles those instincts. But Clijsters went deeper. She pointed out that Eala's backhand is not merely reliable. It is aggressive. That is critical. In modern women's tennis, baseline exchanges define outcomes. If your backhand can absorb and then attack, you remove the safety zone opponents rely on. Eala can hurt players from that wing. She can redirect pace. She can flatten the trajectory and turn defense into pressure in one strike. That forces opponents to think twice about targeting that side. Then comes the forehand angle, opening space and exposing movement gaps. Combine that with strong footwork and stamina, and rallies become draining for whoever stands across from her. Clijsters compared her mentality to Dominika Cibulkova, referencing that relentless, pitbull-like energy. Quick feet. Sudden transitions from defense to offense. The ability to step inside the baseline at the exact moment an opponent believes they are in control. That shift is disorienting. It steals momentum. It changes scoreboard pressure. And we saw it explode during her Miami run. Coming through qualifying, she was not expected to threaten elite names. Yet she defeated the world number one. She took out Jelena Ostapenko. She beat Madison Keys on American soil. She surged into the semifinals by refusing to remain passive. She did not overpower everyone technically. She outcompeted them psychologically. She disrupted timing. She extended rallies until frustration surfaced. That is not accidental. That is identity forming in real time. Then there is the crowd factor. This part is unprecedented for a top 30 player. Wherever Eala competes, Filipino supporters show up in massive numbers. Dubai felt like home territory. Melbourne saw record engagement. Abu Dhabi. Auckland. The pattern repeats. She sells out sections in ways even established top 5 players sometimes struggle to replicate. Clijsters spoke about crowd energy with nuance. She explained that her own pressure rarely came from spectators. It came from her inner circle, from wanting to reward the sacrifices of coaches and trainers. Representing Belgium in team competition carried heavier emotional stakes than individual losses. But she also described how an electric crowd can act as fuel. Eye contact during night sessions. A roar after a winner. That surge can reset focus when fatigue creeps in. Eala plays with that energy constantly. Thousands invested in every point. That is an asset most players at her ranking never experience. Yet it is also complicated. After a tight 3-set loss to Alicia Parks at the Australian Open, backlash from a portion of fans crossed boundaries. Rafael Nadal, whose academy shaped Eala from age 13, publicly defended her. That moment underscored the dual nature of passionate support. Intensity can inspire. It can also pressure. Clijsters directly referenced the need for protection from the chaos surrounding sudden superstardom. Protection does not mean fragility. It means structure. It means filtering noise. Because the results already speak loudly. From 137 to 31 inches a year. Wins over top-tier opponents. Being labeled one of the biggest draws in women's tennis. Praise from champions. A global ambassador role with Nike. Years of discipline inside the Rafa Nadal Academy environment. None of this is coincidence. The foundation is legitimate. The growth is real. But sustaining a trajectory toward Grand Slam contention requires balancing commercial demand, national expectation, media narratives, and internal development without letting any single force distort competitive focus. Indian Wells begins March 4. Miami follows March 17. These tournaments are not just calendar entries. They are pressure chambers. Momentum can accelerate. Narratives can shift overnight. Whether Eala enters those arenas as a well-supported emerging star or as someone weighed down by amplified expectation could determine the next chapter. Clijsters has seen the summit. She recognizes warning signs and opportunity simultaneously. Her message was not alarmist. It was deliberate. Alex Eala is not simply a promising athlete. She is a 20-year-old navigating global-level competition while carrying the emotional investment of an entire nation. That combination is rare. It is powerful. And it must be handled with intelligence. Because, if managed correctly, this trajectory could redefine tennis visibility in Southeast Asia for a generation. If mishandled, it risks burning too hot too fast. The tennis world needed to hear this perspective. Now the spotlight turns to how the system responds.